Hello students, this is Kanika. Welcome to my channel PrepBiology. So today in this class we are going to discuss chapter number 4, the principles of inheritance and variations, and the most important topic of this chapter is the Mendel's laws of inheritance. Okay, so in the previous lecture we have studied the Mendel's experiment, why Mendel chose the garden pea plant, that is the Pisum sativum, for his experiment, and what did he do. Okay, and in this class we are going to discuss Mendel's laws of inheritance given by Mendel. Okay, so there are the three laws of inheritance. First one is the law of dominance, second is the law of segregation, and third is the law of independent assortment. Okay, so the Mendel's laws of inheritance are basically divided into two categories. First one is the inheritance of a one gene, and second is the inheritance of a two gene. So under the inheritance of one gene, in this means that the transfer of or the study of inheritance of a single gene in which only one character is considered. Only one character is considered. Okay, and in the inheritance of two genes, so there are in this study of the inheritance of two genes having two characters, having the two characters. Okay, so under the inheritance of one genes, there are two laws of Mendel, that is the law of dominance and law of segregation. And under the inheritance of two gene, we will study the law of independent assortment. So there are three laws of inheritance: law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. Okay. Now, under the inheritance of one gene, the law of dominance and law of segregation is there, and under the law of segregation there are further multiple terms. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to discuss law of dominance. So under the inheritance of one gene, the law of dominance states three features basically. First is the characters are controlled by a discrete units that are called the factors. So understand it carefully. So what Mendel do, that when he crows the pure tall plant with the pure dwarf plant, he found in the F1 generation that is all plants were tall, that we have studied in the previous class. Okay, and by this observation he states that something is transferred from the parents to generation in the form of units that are called the factors. Okay, so nowadays the factors are called the genes. Okay, so the Mendel states in the law of dominance, the first feature is that the characters are controlled by units. These are called the factors. Now the factors occurs in pairs. Okay, so the factors occurs in pairs always. Okay, so that one shows the one shows the tall trait, and second is the one shows the dwarf trait. So these factors are always occurs in pairs, whether they are in homozygous condition, whether they are in heterozygous condition. Okay, homo means same and hetero means different alleles. Okay, the next is in a dissimilar pair of factors. Dissimilar means heterozygous condition. Okay, in the dissimilar pair of factors, one member of a pair dominates the other. Okay, so when he self-fertilize the F1 generation, okay, so he found that the number of the tall plants are 3 times more than the number of dwarf plants. Okay, so he states that in the dissimilar pair, like in heterozygous conditions, the one factor dominates over the other. So that factor which express itself in this condition, for example, we take this condition T and T. Okay, and here the capital T dominates. Here the capital T dominates, that express itself, and small t hidden under the effect of the capital T. That's why the small t shows the recessive character and capital D shows the dominant trait. I hope this is clear to you all. So law of dominance states three features. Characters are controlled by discrete units. These are called the factors. Factors are occurs in pairs, and out of the dissimilar pair of factors, one dominates over the other. Okay, so one that express itself, that trait is called the dominant trait, and that do not express itself, that hidden under the effect of the dominant character, that is called the recessive. So this is important, dominant and recessive. So these are all the features under the law of dominance. Now law of dominance comes under the inheritance of the single gene. So if we talk about the single gene, we cross monohybrid cross. Okay, mono means single, there where the single character is considered. Okay, considered. So in law of dominance, the monohybrid cross takes place. What is monohybrid cross? When one character is considered and single pair of gene is involved, and the monohybrid cross is important to determine the dominance relationship of a allele. Okay, so monohybrid cross is contains only one character. That means one character means, suppose we take height of a plant. This is one character. Okay, and the height of plant, the traits are different. Some are tall and some are dwarf in nature. Okay, now we do the monohybrid cross. Okay, so if we take the height of a plant, this is the character, and one parent is the female parent is pure tall, that is represented by capital T, and the male parent is dwarf in nature. Okay, so the dwarf in height, so that is small t. If we form the gametes, it contains 100% capital T and it contains 100% small t. Now it fuse with each other, it forms a capital T and small t. Fertilization occurs, and in the F1 generation, that is the first filial generation. F means first filial generation. Filial is a Latin word. Okay, filial is a Latin word which means son or daughter. Okay, now in the F1 generation, the Mendel see that all are tall in nature. All plants are tall in nature. Why? Because the capital T dominates over the small t. That shows the dominant character. Okay, that's why all plants were tall in nature. Now, what happens? By taking the F1 generation, the selfing takes place or the self-fertilization takes place. Self means within itself. The cross within this character. Okay, so when the selfing takes place, selfing or the self-fertilization takes place, we have a number of gametes. It has two kinds of gametes and it also has the two kinds of gametes. Now, the fertilization occurs. Okay, now understand it carefully. First, the fusion occurs between this gamete with these two gametes. So capital T fuse with capital T, it forms capital T, and this T fuse with other gamete small t, that forms capital T small t. Now second T, the second gamete, that is the small t fuse with capital T, that forms capital T small t, and small t fuse with small t, that forms the small t. So this kind of fusion takes place. Okay, and now it's time for the ratios. So we have two types of ratios. First is the genotypic ratio, genotypic ratio, and second is the phenotypic ratio. Okay, phenotypic ratio. Genotypic ratio shows the genetic constituents or the genetic makeup of an individual. So if we see the genotypic ratio, this is different, this is different, and these two are different. Capital D shows pure tall, 1 ratio. Capital T, capital T, small t. How many? 2. They shows the hybrid. And small t shows the pure dwarf. So this is also 1. So we have pure tall, 2 are hybrid, and 1 is dwarf. So what is phenotypic ratio? Phenotypic means how individuals look at their morphological type in terms. Okay, so morphology, how the outer appearance of this plant occurs. So this is tall, capital T, small t, capital T, small t. Due to the dominant character of capital T, these also tall plants, and small t shows dwarf plants. So how many tall? 1, 2, and 3. 3 tall and 1 is dwarf. So these ratios are very, very important. For monohybrid cross, the genotypic ratio is 1:2:1, or phenotypic ratio is 3:1. So this is very, very important. Okay, so in your NCERT books, you have this cross, and the representation is by the Punnett square. Okay, so Punnett square. This is basically a graphical representation for finding out the probabilities of the crosses. Okay, so this is the monohybrid cross, okay, that we have discussed. Capital T, small t. We have F1 generation, all tall are there. Okay, all plants are tall. Now selfing takes place, capital T, small t, and we have the ratios phenotypic and genotypic. The phenotypic and genotypic ratios are very, very important. So if we see the what is the Punnett square, it is the graphical representation to calculate the probability of all possible genotypes of offsprings in a genetic cross. So this is a square-like thing, and it is given by the Reginald C. Punnett. Okay, so that's why it is called the Punnett square. And the representation is this. If we see the selfing we have studied this condition. Now these capital T, small t written like this, and these capital T, small t write like this. Okay, so now capital T, capital T, small t, capital T, small t, small t, small t. So by this representation we also make the crosses. Okay, so this is all about the laws of dominance. So what is important in laws of dominance is the ratio. The monohybrid cross is very, very important, and the ratios, what is the genotypic and phenotypic ratios of that. In your board examinations you have multiple questions regarding this concept itself. Okay, monohybrid cross, laws of dominance, and you all have to remember this chart. Okay, this chart is very, very important, so remember it. In your monohybrid and in your dihybrid cross, these 7 characters with their traits, which trait is dominant trait and which trait is recessive trait, is also very important. So you have questions like draw a monohybrid cross of the flower color. So you should know which flower color, which are the traits of the flower color, and which one is the dominant and which one is the recessive. That if you remember this chart, then you have to solve these kinds of crosses. Okay, find out the ratios. Okay, so this is all about today's class. If you like this lecture, like, share, and subscribe my channel, that is PrepBiology. Keep studying, keep learning. Thank you so much.